If you want to be ready ahead of time, we're going to start on page 128. While Mr. Wolkow gets his water. Patrick, are these visitors? I'm going to show them this book, please, and turn to. Okay, nice to meet you. Page 128, we'll be starting in just a minute. Thank you. Oh, no, people. I'm going to take a slow. Go in here. We had a lovely dinner this evening with our grandchildren at Applebee's, courtesy of Raise Rights.
That's right. Yeah.
They're always having a sale. I've been happy with it, except recently I can't get e-cards for some places, and I'm like, where I used to. So it's frustrating. Like my school where I retired from, we have a monthly luncheon at Cracker Barrel. Not one of my favorite places to eat, but they have an e-card. And when I went to get an e-card, it was like temporarily not available. It's been temporarily not available for like 6 weeks now.
So this recreational, you go out to the patio and play the big checkers chess game, without eating. Okay. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
They're already on 128 waiting.
They're on 128 waiting. Okay. Well, thank you for waiting. Really appreciate that. Not starting without me. So I'm here and Pat is here. Rabbi is still in Israel right now at the Central Conference of American Rabbis Conference.
And if you have Facebook, it's great. She's already made 4 or 5 entries and the pictures are wonderful. Comments are interesting. If not, find someone who does and look her up. It's been fun watching her. There was one where she talked about this restaurant she was in the market in the Shuk and they had all these spices. And she said, and Terry was saying, I can just smell them now through my computer. And I said, yeah, my mouth was watering too. And she displays food and it just looks wonderful. Okay.
So that's just a little teaser, I guess, for the congregational trip in October to Israel that Rabbi is going to lead. So we've signed up. Okay, we're going to begin with a reading on page 100. No, we're going to begin with Maya Feh Hayom on page 128.
Mm-hmm. Maya Feh Hayom Shabbat Shalom. Maya Feh Hayom Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Yahweh Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Yahweh Hayom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat 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 Shalom. Shabbat Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat.
Page 127. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace, born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. And I now invite Wendy, and is Elise here? To light the Shabbat candles. Well, and anybody that wants to come up with you, you know, you can make it a family affair. Okay. Page 120. And if you could make sure the microphone's on for our Zoom guests. And anyone who's streaming on YouTube. By the way, we're streaming on YouTube now as well. Are we streaming tonight? I think there's a box to check according to... We only started streaming on YouTube, what was it, 2 weeks ago?
I haven't.
When was Rosh Shabbat? Was that last week or 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Oh, okay. So we're streaming on Zoom tonight, and you know, it may show up on YouTube. We'll see. How many folks on Zoom?
I'm on Zoom.
5 screens.
With 6 people on a screen.
Yeah, that's 30 if there's 6 on a screen. Absolutely. Okay, we digress. Go ahead. Amen.
Are they going to read? No.
I'll read it.
On page 121.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. We continue with Lecha Dodi, page 138.
Lecha Dodi lekrat kala penei Shabbat nekabla. Lecha Dodi lekrat kala penei Shabbat nekabla. Shamor v'sapor b'diborecha. Ishme'anu elam yubad Adonai Ushmo L'shemo tiferet v'tihila Lecha Dodi lekrat kala penei Shabbat nekabla. Lecha Dodi lekrat kala penei Shabbat nekabla. Likrat Shabbat lehu v'nacham ki mekor ha'bracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'shvat tehila lecha dodi likrat kala penei Shabbat nekabla. Page 139, verse 5 is next. Hitoreri, hitoreri, kiva ore, uri, shir daberi, kavod Adonai alayich nifla. Lecha Dodi lekrat kala penei Shabbat nekabla. Lecha Dodi lekrat kala penei Shabbat nekabla.
We rise and face the main entrance to greet the bride, Shabbat.
This is verse 9.
Shalom.
Matera Bala, Gam Besimcha Usa, Token Smedla, Rikala, Rikala, Lehadadi, Lekrat Kala, Pene Shabbat Nekala. Lehadadi, Lekrat Kala, Pene Shabbat Nekala.
You may be seated. We continue now on page 140. Which one are we doing on 140?
We're doing Sadika tomorrow.
Sadi Katamar, oldie but goodie.
The indent on this.
At the indent on page 140.
Sadi Katamar.
Swavanu Shitu
Oh, Jenu the shining the
We continue with Shalom Aleichem, page 142.
Shalom Aleichem, Malahei Sharek, Malahei Elyon, Mimelet Malahei Akadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malahei Sharek, Malahei Elyon, Mimelet Malahei Hamayim Akadosh Baruch Hu.
Shalom, Malachei Shalom. Malachei Rachim, Akadosh Baruch Hu. Malachei Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Malachei Hamayim Akadosh Baruch Hu. Malachei Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Malachei Hamayim Akadosh Baruch Hu. Satan Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Rachim,
Akadosh Baruch Hu.
We continue with Hatzi Kaddish, page 144. Yikadav Yikadash Shemei Rabba, Yamad Yivrach Utev Yamlich Malchutei, V'chai Yonu Yom, V'chai Yivro Beit Yisrael, V'chai U'bizman Kavri, V'meru
Amen. Ishmael Rabba Mevor. Ve'olam
Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yipar, V'yitraman, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitaleh, V'yitalal, Shmei Kudusha, Le'ela, Mikol Birchata V'shirata, Shvihata V'nemata, David Rabbi Alma, And before we get to the Baruch Hu, we'll take a moment or two to greet those around us or people you haven't met before, those at home on Zoom. Can they talk to one another? Or
chat.
If you want to chat at home, chat away. How's that? Okay. We are now going to move to page 146 for the Baruch. Baruch et Adonai Hamoram. You may be seated. We haven't done that short version in what, a long, long time. Okay, we continue with the Ma'ariv Aravim, page 148.
Did you not get any of my notes that you asked me to, you begged me to make on the sheet this morning?
Oh, I guess I didn't. Go ahead.
We're doing Roll into Dark.
We're doing Roll into Dark tonight. Just to let you know. And maybe some other surprises, at least for me.
Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll over middle of the page. Lord be behold, be behold, the whole shall be.
The dark rolling to light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Rolling to dark, rolling to light.
Light becomes day, day turns to night.
Rolling
to dark, rolling to light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Rolling to dark, rolling to light becomes day, day.
And next we're going to turn to page maybe 151.
Yes. 100.
And
You reading?
And we're reading.
Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives.
What could be a truer token of your abiding love
than this holiest of your words and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai,
Ohev Amo Yisrael. We'll continue with the Shema, page 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Eloheinu, Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
May be seated. We continue with the Haftarah, page 154. The Haftarah, et Adonai Eloheinu, v'chol levacha, v'chol nafshecha, v'chol me'odecha, v'hayu advarim ha'eleh, asher Anochi mitzavecha, hayom al
Bethel.
Vishinatam Levanetam, Vidivartam, Vishiftecha Bevetecha, Uvlechtecha Vageret, Ushofecha Ukumecha, Ukshartam Leo Dayodecha, Behayulatotafot Beinenacham, Uvtavtam, Uzobetecha, Ubisharet, Leman Tisku, Ve'asitem Mekomitzvotai,
V'yetem kedoshim Elohechem.
Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lahem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Adonai Elohechem. Amen. We continue with Michamocha on page 158.
Michamocha ba'elim Adonai. Michamocha nedar ba'kodesh.
Michamocha ba'elim Adonai. Michamocha nedar
ba'kodesh. No right to be Lord. Oh, say, no right to be Lord. Oh, say, okay, I am Miriam, Zelianu, Zelianu, Adonai, Michamocha ba'elim Adonai.
Michamocha nedar
ba'kodesh. Michamocha ba'elim Adonai. Michamocha nedar ba'kodesh. No right to be Lord. Oh, say, no right to be Lord. Oh, say, Adonai, lovely. Arkivada Adonai, et Yaakov ugalu, v'yatza mimenu, v'yad hazak mimenu,
Baruch atah
Adonai, Yisrael, Yisrael.
Page 161. Hapares, which you can find the last two lines in Hebrew at the top of the page, at the bottom of the page, or the top or bottom of page 160.
Did you want to read first?
Yes. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will.
Shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'al Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Shalom. Shalom Aleinu ve'al Yisrael. Shalom. Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom. Shalom.
Shalom Aleinu ve'akol Israel. Shalom Aleinu ve'akol Yisrael.
Page 162, the people of Israel shall keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat throughout the ages as a covenant for all time. It is a sign for all time between me and the people of Israel. For in 6 days Adonai made heaven and earth, and on the 7th day God ceased from work and was refreshed. We'll sing Vishamru at the top of the page.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. בני ישראל לעולם. לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם.
We now come to the central prayer of our service, the Amidah, also known as the Tefillah, on page 164. We'll begin together, and yes, please rise, and then we'll have some time for some private prayer.
Adonai, Shabbat Uvia Gita Hilatel Adonai. My mouth may declare your praise.
Eloheinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah,
Elohei Kam, Elohei Rahel, Elohei Leah, El Hagadol, Hagibor, El Elyon, Kamei Chasadim Tovim, Bekonei Yaakov, Bezoher Hastei Avovim, Refuge Valley, Manchuvia, Melozem Mashiach, Abruhata, Bezrat Salam, Tagibor Leolamad, Mehayel
Mashiva Ruach,
Hagashem, Mechakel Hayim Bechesed, Mehayel Yaakov Berahamim Rabbi, Salomech Noflim Verofel Holim, Umatir Asurim,
Umekayem enato bishene yafa bihama bagu umidome melameni janahaye umatsmiach Yeshua Taco Baruch atah Adonai B'chayei hakol.
Ta kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim b'chol yom yalu v'asela Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Please continue privately with a prayer that's in your heart or in the text here until page 180, and have a seat when you've completed your private prayer.
Oh, I don't know.
And now for a real blast from the past. Vayachulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzivam vayachol Elohim bayom hashvihi melachto asher asa vayishbot bayom hashvihi mikol melachto asher asa v'varech Elohim et yom hashvihi v'kadesh oto kivo shavat mikol melachto Asher Elohim laso. And we conclude the Amidah with Yihiyu L'Ratzon, page 180.
Yihiyu L'Ratzon Emrevi Ve'yom Libi Lefanecha Adonai Supreme Adonai Supreme So and
Pray. Adonai Suri Adonai Suri Vega. Okay, we have now reached the time for our Torah service. And so let's see, do we have things assigned yet, or am I doing that from the Bima? They're all assigned. I'd be happy to be a gabbai. Okay, in that case, ark openers who have been so assigned, come on up. Torah carriers, if you're gonna carry a scroll tonight. One, okay, good. And I think that's all we need for right now.
Turn to page 362. 362.
362, good idea.
Ein hamoha by lima jona. Maseha. Malhutecha malhut kolamim. Umin shelteha v'kol dor v'hador. Adonai melech. Adonai. Adonai Osleim Itein Adonai Yifaren Tamot Bashalom Rahami Eti Barbeton Etzion Tivnei Yerushalayim Tivnei Yerushalayim Tivnei Levad B'Tavim Benisa Adonai.
Page 364, please rise. Ki Mitzion Tetzeh Torah. Ki Mitzion Tetzeh Torah. Mirushalayim.
Shenatan Torah. Shenatan Torah. Israel. Biddu Shabbat.
Repeat the watchword of our faith. Shema
Yisrael. Adonai Elohim. Adonai Elohim. Shema Shema Yakdam Adonai Hagidon Hagid Behatifeh Be'ani Be'hako Kiko Bashamayim Ba Kiko Bashamayim Ba'aretz Adonai Hamam Leha Yamid Ma'aseh Romanu Adonai Eloheinu Ve'shakavu Lehar Kodsho. Romanu Adonai Eloheinu Ve'shakavu Lehar Kodsho. Ki Adonai Eloheinu Romanu. Romanu Adonai Eloheinu Ve'shakavu Lehar Kodsho. Romanu Adonai Eloheinu Ve'shakavu Lehar Kodsho. You may be seated while the comedy show continues up here. Oh my goodness.
Okay. We're a little rusty. You know, we've been so fortunate to have Rabbi Mika with us leading services week after week after week that the some of the RPC members, well, yours truly anyway, we're rusty on this whole Torah thing.
I will obviously follow Mark wherever he goes.
Even over the cliff, right? Okay, so we can tell you that if you have a Hertz in front of you, yeah, thank you. Wendy's holding about 325 or 327, something like that. And if you have one of these, what page are we on? Oh, we're still looking. So it's Exodus 25, verse 10. Truma, right? That's page 543 if you're in this book. We have gotten it down to at least just 2 books now. Okay. Dr. Dave, are you going to read tonight for us? Oh, good. We didn't just decide that now. Great plan. It's right where it should be. We'll just give David a chance to. There were the Yad's there.
That was, I think,
Yeah, that was it. And mode Rishon. Let me see. Here. It's a little bit crooked. It's got to be over here. Okay. Yeah.
Baruch Adonai Hambarak Leolam Bayed. Baruch Adonai Hambarak Leolam Bayed. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam. V'shabach Rabbanu Mikol Ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen. Ve'asaru Aron Atzei Shitim. Amatayim v'ketzi arko, v'ama v'ketzi rakbo, v'ama v'ketzi komato. And you shall make an ark of acacia wood, 2 cubits and a half long, 1 cubit and a half wide, 1 cubit and a half in height. V'tzipita oto zahata or mi bayadu mikutz titzapenu v'asita alive zar sahav saviv. And you shall cover it with gold so pure. Inside and outside you shall cover it, and you shall make for it a crown of gold all around. Vayazakta lo arba tabaot zahav v'nahatata arba hamotav ushte tabaot al zaho. Echat ushte tabaot al zahot hashanit, and you shall cast for it 4 rings of gold, and put the rings on the corners, 2 rings on one side and 2 rings on the other. Sihita v'dehe atzei shitim v'tzipitao tam zahav, and you shall make staves of acacia wood and cover them with gold. V'hevata et habadim batabaot al za'o ha'aron laset et haron bahem. And you shall put the staves in the rings on the sides of the ark in order to carry the ark with them. Batababot ha'aron yiyu habadim male Batabot ha'aron yiyu habadim los yasuru mimenu. And the rings of the ark shall contain the staves. You should not remove them. V'natata el haron et ha'edut asher eten elekam. And you shall put in the ark the testimony that I shall give you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam nata b'Eloheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Amen.
Now, in a little bit. Okay. Well, that was a treat, was it not? We don't usually have the English sung. And as you notice, translated from the scroll, we didn't have the English next to it. Okay, let's see. Now I'm looking at my cheat sheet to make sure I'm doing it right. Misha Baroff, that's the next thing. So that we need to have our list here. So we're now going to talk about people who are under the weather, either physically or in other ways. Annette Durlam, Barbara Chansey, Fred Belkin, Heather Mullis, David Durlam, Mike Gordon, Natalie Latovsky, Philip Chansey, Tim Latham, and any others whom you would care to name out loud.
Ann Robbins and Pat Goals.
No.
Delphine.
And we turn to page 371 in the middle of the page for the Misha Bera. Source of strength, who wants help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. And let us say, Amen. For those in need of healing, with the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and say, okay. We now will prepare to return the Torah to the ark. And so if you Yamod Hagba Yamod Gleila for lifting and dressing and not so much anymore. Siggy used to do that. Yeah. Okay. Please rise. Torah Asher Samishah.
Torah, 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 Tzivonu Moshe. Torah, 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 Tzivonu Moshe.
Kilachach tov natati lachem torati al ta'azovu. Eitzari lema tzikila v'tol penha me'usha derachem Yaheno Shalom Hashivenu Adu And Dr. Dave is also going to give the drosh tonight. A twofer.
And while he's making his way up, I'll do a quick prayer for Israel. O Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love, spread it over the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with our good counsel, establishing peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there and visit there, our dear Rabbi. Amen.
Amen.
The Torah portion this week is about the design and building of the tabernacle, the ancient Israelite desert place of worship. My contribution to worship today was chanting and talking about a few significant verses concerning the construction of the ark. Following an idea explained to me by several biblical scholars at Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion, I will introduce some cultural context for the tabernacle and the ark. A worthy question for readers of the Torah is, why has it survived? People, cultures, and languages have life cycles. Over 500 languages are known to be extinct. The number of lost cultures is surely much larger. Typically, a conqueror amasses an army, attacks a people, often enslaves them, but in any case, makes their survival dependent on learning the people's language and culture. Now, how is it that both the language and much of the culture of the ancient Hebrews survived conquest by the Egyptians, Babylonians, Greeks, Romans, Arabs, and English? This week, I read a wonderfully engaging little book on the topic by a scholar I have admired ever since I had the pleasure of interviewing him concerning how people develop expertise such as his. The scholar's name is David H. Aaron, and his book has the rather academic title of Genesis Ideology, Essays on the Uses and Meanings of Stories. It reads, though, quite comfortably, almost like a short novel, barely over 100 pages. For millennia, Almost everyone who read the Torah knew that it was dictated by God to Moses, for Moses to write down, around 1200 years before the Common Era. Today, there is unusual consensus among modern scholars that this account is in error. In Genesis ideology, we aren't told the names of those who wrote and edited the Torah stories, but we are treated to how their place in history influenced those writers. As well as telling us that God wrote the Torah, our tradition also tells us that King David wrote all the Psalms, and his son Solomon wrote the book of Proverbs. Assigning authors changed less than it sometimes seems from ancient times to the modern 20th century. Decades ago, I presented research in some mathematics of development at a conference dedicated to the renowned Swiss developmental psychologist Jean Piaget. Years earlier, Piaget had described how children learn to conserve weight and volume despite changes in the shape and apparent size of containers. Sitting beside me during another presentation was an elderly gentleman named Gerald Nelting, professor at Université Laval in Quebec, Canada. We learn in footnotes to a few of Piaget's many books that Gerald did extensive research in Piaget's lab on the conservation of volume. The original study of children's responses to orange juice placed in different shaped glasses was his, but almost every source attributes the studies to Piaget. The modern attributors are less intentional than the ancient ones, but in both cases, the work is seen as more important than the person who did it. These examples show us that the name of the author of a book of research or research project is not always the person who wrote or studied it. In fact, if you really wanted people to read what you wrote, it paid to attribute it to a much more famous and significant source. David and Solomon were quite famous among the Israelites, but in the years after the conquest of Israel by the Babylonians, who could have been more famous or significant than God? I'm falling back on an old but a little sneaky teaching habit here. First, I agreed with the scholars that people wrote and edited the Torah stories. Then I just slipped in that they were written not around 1200 BCE, but after Solomon's temple was destroyed, which history buffs know to have occurred during the siege of Jerusalem by Nebuchadnezzar the Great in 587 BC, 600 years later. My little sneak allowed me to introduce my version of David Aaron's argument that might apply to the description of the tabernacle in an ark. And actually, David has read my version, and he made me write it in such a way that it was surely my version, but it is kind of captures his flavor, and he wasn't uncomfortable with it at all. Imagine you are an important member of a community who has just been conquered by a hugely greater power. The king of this great power has proclaimed that he is God's appointed ruler, and even our modern Tanakh agrees with that one. Without your community, you lose not only your language, but also what you have worked and cared for during your whole life. So what kind of stories will you tell to convince your community not to abandon their culture? You could say that God is the finest teacher there ever was. He created the most just laws in the known world. And the loss of your temple is due to his punishing you for not obeying them. To prove your God's might, you have no temple like your conquerors do, but you can describe a movable wilderness tabernacle, which had a courtyard almost as large as a temple. And in it, you can place a precious box that is approximately 4 feet long, 2 feet wide, and 2 cubits high. You call it an ark, cover it with gold, and place in it, inside it, your most holy and sacred object, the document that God gave your people. In the portion I just chanted, the ark contains not just God's laws, but his testimony. revealing the story of his instruction and love of your people. 2,500 years later, even one of our small communities will have an ark. We no longer cover it with gold, but it still contains our most precious testimony. Like the Israelis during the Babylonian exile, today we also struggle with a great conqueror. Our world of science and technology, teeming with complex professions, international businesses, and abundant lifestyles, threatens to assimilate and erase our ancient community, perhaps wielding an even worse threat than Nebuchadnezzar's conquest. Reading Torah stories in their cultural context, as Dr. Aaron teaches, enables us to purposely adapt this context into our present day. We can update our tradition of advancing justice in community with stories that have captivated readers for 2.5 millennia. These stories can work to hold us together despite the massive threat of assimilation to modernity. Every week when I write our Torah portion preview and consult scholars like David Aaron, the writers of the Torah, a Women's Commentary, and numerous other books, I learn to cherish even more the extravagant beauty of the stories and find new ways to use them, to use their lessons in our modern world. Our synagogue has an ark for holding our precious testimony. At our houses, we collect bookshelves and coffee tables to hold personal libraries. These allow us to keep in our homes the ancient testimony and commentaries from across the ages. The stories help us to preserve our community. We transform them to worship when we put them to song, share interpretations of their messages with each other, make and care for holy objects, create holy occasions together, and above all, care for each other. The only thing more special than the stories is you.
Thank you, David, for that very fascinating discussion of this Torah portion. Okay, we are now going to
page 586.
Yes, page 586 for Elenu, please rise. And we're going to do, we'll do the one on the top of the page that we've been sort of slowly moving towards a Shabbat or two at a time.
Alenu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, Lateit gedula l'yotzei breishi, shehu noteh shamayim v'yoseh haaretz, u'moshav yikaro v'shamayim imah. Ushkinat uzo b'gavei ma'orim, u'Eloheinu Eloheinu u'mishtachavim modim v'lefnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu v'ne'emar v'hayu Adonai Al kol ha'aretz v'yom Ushema You may be seated. Now it's time to remember those who died at this time in the past, or who have died. Well, we don't have any recent deaths, thank goodness. Those who have passed away at this time of year, we honor their memories. Andy Klein, Becky Golbin, Bella Mendelson, Benjamin Rosenthal, Dr. Irvin Waxman, Gracie Poller Brodsky, Ida Edith Signer, Jean Shore Melnick, Joseph Klein,
Joseph Sachs, Kate Blumenthal, Lavetta Goldman, Louis Schneck, Max Belitsky, Nicholas Wing, Paul Norman Vogelhut, Philip Bernheim, Rebecca Brown, Reverend Joseph Gast, Richard Merricken, Rosalind Wingers, Sadie Stein, Samuel Kravitz, Saul Posner, Selma Newman Wortman, and Theodore Tarnoff. For those of you who are in mourning, please rise. For those of you who are observing yahrzeit, please, at this time, you may also rise. And if it is your custom to rise at this time for yahrzeit, you may rise as well.
Please turn to page 598 for the Mourner's Kaddish.
And just before that, I'm just going to have one little reading. There are stars up above, so far away, we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. Kaddish, page 598. Yit Gadal, Yit Gadash, Me Rabbah, V'alma Divrah Hurte, V'amlich Malchute, V'chayechon, V'yomechon, V'chayeh D'chol Beit Yisrael, V'agalah U'bisman Kariv V'imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Le'olam U'me'omaya. Yit Barach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitramam V'yitnaseh. Yitzadar, Yitzalev, Yitzalal, Shmei, Kudusha, Brifu, Le'evam, Mikol, Bechata, Bechashta, Tush Bechata, Benechamata, Da'amiran, Bi'alma, Bi'imru, Amen. Yehi Shlama, Rabba, Mishmaya, V'chayim, Aleinu, Bi'al Kol Yisrael, Bi'imru, Amen. Oseh Shalom, B'imma, Uya, Oseh Shalom, Aleinu, Bi'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru. Amen. Zichrona livracha. May their memories be for a blessing. You may be seated. Wow. $95. Thank you for sharing. Okay. It's time for announcements. Mrs. Wolkow, do you have announcements?
I have two.
Two. She has two.
The most current news are the Purim bags are ready. And I know we're sort of a week ahead of Purim, but the carnival is a week early, and long story short. So if you are here this evening and would like to pick up your bag, I will see you after services. We will also be here on Sunday during the carnival to pass out your Purim bags. And again, next Friday. After that, it's being donated. So be sure you get in touch with me if you need your bag. Second announcement. This is open to everyone. On March 21st, it's a Tuesday evening. It's our membership meeting for Sisterhood. But we are inviting our Sisterhood friends and our Sisterhood husbands to attend as well. We will have a short half-hour tops meeting. It starts at 7. So if you want to dance around, come in at 7:30, the guests and the husbands. We have a very, very interesting presentation for you. We have a guest from historic 1920s. She's a Jewish feminist, and she will be here to delight you and entertain you with her story that she would like to share with you from that time period, along with some background presentations as well. She will also answer questions in character and questions from her life today. So please come. That will start that presentation at 7:30. But Sisterhood members, you need to be here at 7 because we're having elections and just a brief business meeting. Thank you.
You don't want to miss that. The performer is really awesome, whose name will be kept secret until then. So I wanted to let everybody know that, as I mentioned before, that we are the Rock Shabbat is on YouTube, so you can go watch it if you didn't get here. Although we had an awesome crowd here, a lot of people saw it live, and our plan is to have additional services or services streamed additionally to YouTube as well as to Zoom. And if you missed the Lunch and Learn with Kevin Bress, who talked all about how to keep your money, you probably want to go see that. Is that on our website? Do you know, Brian, yet? It will be on the website. Yes, he's done a fantastic job talking about all the documents that you should have and how often you should update them, et cetera, et cetera. Coming up, the next book review is going to be on May 20th, and that is The Women of Rothschild. I just finished it. Very fascinating book. You'll learn a whole lot about Rothschilds. It's amazing. The
speaker also from the Sisterhood thing thought she was a Rothschild, but she was not.
Oh, well.
That's how sassy she is.
And March,
not that Rothschild anyway. Sorry.
And March 28th, there's going to be another Dessert and Discuss with Diana Wolkow, our daughter, coming to you directly from the cool state of Maine. And she's going to talk about a Purim delight, which was, I forget what it was called, but it's like a Australian or New Zealand pavlova or something like that.
I have no idea.
I don't know, but it's got chocolate in it now. So definitely want to tune in for that.
Wendy will tune in, I'm for sure.
Yes, a lot of chocolate. Okay, does anybody else have anything they want to share for the congregation? Yes, Purim Carnival on Sunday. Well, you have this online, or it was emailed to you.
It's been on Facebook. It's been everywhere. But the Purim Carnival will start at noon and go till 2. You could have ordered tickets still in advance online, or you can pay when you get here.
Yeah. Or just go to the website. It's all there. Okay. Oh, and I'm going to give you a preview. Our newsletter, which of course is printed, is going to have a video portion this month for the first time. That's all I'm going to say. You got to go find it. Okay. So what are we closing with, Mrs. Wolkow?
Page 626 for Ein Keloheinu.
Oh, good. That is on the sheet here.
Yeah, you saw that one and changed it.
I did see that one, yeah. Okay.
Ein Keloheinu.
Ein Kadoneinu. Ein Kemokeinu. Ein Kamoshienu. Mi Eloheinu. Mi Kadoneinu. Mi Kemokeinu. Mi Kamoshienu. No Deloheinu. No Deladonenu. No Deloheinu. No Delamoshienu. Baruch Eloheinu. Baruch Adonenu. Baruch Eloheinu. Baruch Moshienu. Atahu Eloheinu. Atahu Adonenu. Atahu Malkeinu. Atahu Moshienu. Please join us in the social hall for the oneg, some sweets. I know the Drabinskys and the Woods have provided the sweets tonight, so they should be pretty good. And for Kiddush and Motzi.